Welcome to another edition of Interruption. Today, my guest is a sports writer, and he's also the beat writer for the Atlanta Falcons. He knows all things Atlanta Falcons, whatever they tell him, of course. So I'm talking no other than Atlanta's own legendary, the Orlando Better. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, Otis. Thanks for having me on the show for that fine introduction there.
And I
We
and I
are,
meant and I meant the Orlando Ledbetter. Excuse me.
yeah, we good.
How you been doing, sir?
Well, I've been doing pretty good, pretty good. Just getting ready for the draft and, trying to stay on top of things as the Falcons, travel the country to look at some of these top prospects. So, been pretty busy, a little different, not being able to travel and go out there on the road ourselves, but
Sure.
still trying to get the information for the listeners and the readers.
Well, before we get into the all things Falcons, I had one question I wanted to ask you. Being I'm born and raised in Atlanta,
Mhm.
and I went to Carver High School in Atlanta,
Okay.
and I went to Columbia School of Broadcasting. When I got out of high school, I actually I wanted to be Stuart Scott before Stuart Scott,
Okay.
because
Okay.
Stuart wasn't out yet.
Right. Right.
So how did you begin your sports career? How did you get into uh, sports writing, and then end up becoming a beat writer for the Atlanta Falcons?
Yeah, well, I started writing in junior high school, and then I just kept writing wherever I was at.
Okay.
High school, then in college, and then got a journalism degree, and that's when the paper started to recognize me in my sophomore year, and so I would start interviewing with pretty much everybody. Had internships in Newport News, Virginia,
Okay.
Greensboro, North Carolina, and Cleveland at the Plain Dealer, and then got my first job out of college at the Charlotte Observer. So, I just wrote. Love for writing early on led
Hmm.
me down the path that ended up in the newsroom of the Charlotte Observer, and then when you get in the field, you move around a little bit. Went to
Sure.
Cincinnati, covered the Packers, got hired in Atlanta, and they knew my work with the Packers in
Hmm.
Wisconsin, and were comfortable with me putting me on the Atlanta Falcons beat.
Well, I'm glad that you're here. Was it harder? Because I know when I interviewed Chris Broussard, he was telling me it was harder back then, because back then if you had to get onto it with the newspaper. If you wasn't writing for a newspaper, it wasn't gonna happen for you. So was it harder back then than it is where you see some people getting their start today?
Yeah, we had to work, and Chris was a young guy at the Akron Beacon Journal when I was in
Yep.
Cincinnati. He was covering we were covering indoor football.
Oh, the
And
arena.
yeah, reading about Major Harris. We covered Major Harris, so we've been buddies since then. And he went to the New York Times and got big time. I wasn't really trying to go to TV. I done turned them down 3 times. I was always a newspaper guy. So, but these other
Okay.
guys, they're multimedia. Kind of started with Will Bond and
Yep.
Brian Burwell. They were kind of first to cross over. I had talks with ESPN 3 different times. We couldn't work anything out. But I just wanted to type in my typewriter and write stories. So I was kind of old school in that way. Maybe missed the boat on the changing multimedia platforms and so forth. But fortunately, I've been able to stay at one of the nation's great papers and
Right.
do a good job there. So, so I know Chris's fallback is he's a preacher. I went to
Yes.
law school. I got my law degree, so I'm always gonna be able to work. I might not be able to do what I want to do, but I could. Right now, I am.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, sometimes I am envious of you guys, because like I said, that what where I messed up, Orlando, was I let someone talk me out of my dream, because back then I graduated high school back in '89, so you
Mhm.
started to see that evolution of some of the former players getting jobs. and
Mhm.
instead of me sticking with it, I kind of got talked out of my job, and I wish I would have gotten further along, just kept plugging away at it versus.
Mhm.
And so now when I created my own podcast, Chris gave me some great advice, which was
Mhm.
just he said the major thing. He said, man, just content, content,
Right, right, right.
content. And so I took that to heart, and it's so funny. I have so much content. I'm actually behind on content.
Well,
So
that's a good
yeah,
place to
yeah, yeah.
be.
I don't run out of content. I could drop something, which I do every week, which I sent to you. And that's an old interview.
Right, right. Yes, yeah.
So, and I appreciate you showing me love on that.
Mhm.
Um, so talking about all things Falcons, I used to also at one point I was in sports management, and so I used to represent a few Falcon players,
Mhm.
not as an agent but handling the market endorsement. So I was heavily into it when Michael Vick was here.
Mhm.
So if you remember, at one time I was representing Ed Fisher, I mean Ed Jasper, Big Fish.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
uh, Terrence Robinson. I had Edric Pruitt, who they had drafted. Brian Randall, who they brought in as an undrafted free agent. So at one point, I was always at the Falcons game because I'd had plenty of players there. And so with the Falcons now making a switch from Coach Dennis and going with Coach Arthur Smith. Uh, what kind of culture have you heard, or what kind of culture will Coach Arthur Smith bring to Atlanta for the Falcon fans?
Well, he Arthur Smith is kind of a perfectionist, kind of across the
Hmm.
T's, dot the I's guys, and so he's going to be really sharp and laser in his focus on what he wants the team to be. So
Okay.
it reminds me of Coach Smith in that way. If you do exactly what we tell you to do, you're gonna have a shot to win this game at the end. And Coach Smith won a lot of games like that from
Yep.
the defensive side of the ball. And so I talked to Coach Malarkey, who was here under Coach Smith and
Right.
under Coach Dan Quinn. He's retired now down in Florida, so I just check on him every now and then. He was in Tennessee with Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith was his assistant tight ends coach, and
Okay.
he spoke highly of him. Says very prepared, very tedious in his preparation and precise, and that he didn't know that he was Fred Smith's son for 9 months. Because he just came in and went to work and did his job.
Right.
Then one day, one of the players said, "Hey, Coach Smith, is your dad gonna buy the team?" So I'm like, "What?"
What?
Yeah, that's I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's Fred Smith's son, a billionaire from FedEx." So
Right.
yeah, and Malarkey didn't know because the kid was just doing his work and
Doing
coming to
this.
work
Yeah. Yeah.
on Brian. So at that point, they, he just respected the work that he was putting in to be good at his job, and so we've seen it over the last couple of years with him assisting Mike Vrabel and making
Hmm.
Tennessee a playoff team, and I mean, it don't take a lot of football acumen. Or you say, hey, I probably should give Derrick Henry the ball,
No.
but
Right.
but he did throw off of that with Tannehill.
Yeah.
So they did win games. So you got to give him some credit for that. Defensively, he's brought in a bunch of old dudes. So I'm worried that the old guys, they know they football. That's not the question. So they're gonna be ready to play. It's how they're gonna coach the younger players up of this generation. They're a little bit different than the guys you were bringing into the league back in the early 2000s.
Yeah. Yeah.
These
Yeah.
cats a little different. So I'm wondering how this old school coach is going to work. But they're definitely qualified and have the information.
Yeah, yeah, it's a different breed of athlete now. Mentally, that is. They sometimes you got to find that balance. They have to find that balance. Um, Do you know also what kind, or have you heard what kind of offense and defense that they're gonna try to build here in Atlanta?
Yeah, it's the way he's gonna bring Shanahan's West Coast outside zone system
Okay.
that the Falcons roll with to the Super Bowl, but he's got more power in it on the outside with extra tight ends that he's got from Malarkey. So
Okay.
a lot of power runs, a lot of stack runs. He's gonna attack you with overloads to one side and then come back to the other. And just kind of beat you up on the edges until you wave up the white flag, and then when you start bringing people up to help, then
Tight
he's
ends
gonna
and leak out.
yeah, he gonna leak it over your head, and
Mm-hmm.
real physical brand of football, which I grew up liking. So that's what they're gonna do on offense. Defense, uh, he's gonna play some games over there because they don't really have a bunch of guys that just go attack people. You don't have Ray Lewis and Ed.
Nah,
You
nah.
don't have Ed Reed over there, which you had in Baltimore. So he's gonna do a 3-4 thing and then just kind of jump around at people and go at it that way.
So they're going to the 3-4.
That's Dean Pease's history. I got that's his history, and he's gonna try to play like he's going multiple 3-4-4-3.
Okay, okay, I got it. Base. Okay, that I would like to see that. Then I would like to see a scheme diverse based on who you're playing and what their strengths, and then set your defense, a la Belichick. You never know from
Right.
week to week what that defense will be. I'm the mindset, and I wanted to get your thoughts. I'm the mindset, and I'll tell you why. But I'm of the mindset that the Falcons should take a quarterback at 4. Uh, Not that Matt is not playing good football. I think Matt Ryan is a good quarterback. I always said from his rookie year, he will be efficient as long as you put the pieces around you. I never thought he was a quarterback that would lift the team. I just thought he could be a great quarterback if you have things in place. And so with his contract, I know they can't get out of it because he counts too much against the cap right now. But I thought if they went with the fourth pick with the quarterback, that would be good. Or if not, if they didn't go quarterback, you got Kyle Pitts in there.
hmm Yeah, no doubt. I think I got it down to four people. Justin Fields, Kyle Pitt, Pinay Solo, and Jamar Chase. So the quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3. Lawrence, Wilson, and Fields. Then I think you go with Sowell. Uh, because he fixes the more problems than Pitts. And then Pitts worries me like OJ Howard, but he's got a little bit more production than a couple championship games. You didn't hear from OJ Howard, but a couple games, and then everybody, he went 15th. So, but Kyle did it over a period of time, came in, learned how
Sure.
to run routes and so forth. So he's gonna be a legit weapon. Now, where do you have him related to the tackle, which you actually need? You actually need a lineman. He can come in, play guard right away, stabilize the line. Maybe even run. Him and Jake might even be able to run block together on that side. So I would understand all those picks. They're at 4. I mean, it's no you're not gonna get a bad play. I mean, Jamar Chase, uh, uh, Julio's getting old. He's 32. Pitts could be a weapon for you. And then, Penny Soul could stabilize your line and keep Matt Ryan alive. And you're right, Otis. When Matt Ryan's protected and he can step into his throws,
Oh yeah,
they go to the playoffs. When that interior of his line is crappy,
he's
oh,
done.
the year Alex Mack came and I saw him stepping into his throw. I was like, "You stepping into your throws again?" He just started smiling. He just started smiling, and so because Dimitrov knew that he had to keep that pocket tight, and so but they weren't able to do that certainly over the last 3 years.
Now you said something. Now I never thought about Sewell at that spot, but you did say something that I've never heard anybody else say. So I got to give you kudos for it, which is him kicking inside the guard, Sewell versus trying to put him at tackle. So you don't think that he, as far as in the NFL, he's actually a tackle. He's more of a power guard.
No, he can play all four spots.
Mm-hmm.
Easier spot for a rookie is the guard.
All
So
right.
I don't want him learning on the job at left tackle. Then they gonna get Mac killed. So,
Mac.
but he can learn on the job he can learn on the job at left guard.
I got you. I got.
So I can play him on the field right away. Then we kick him outside to left tackle. For your fans, Quentin Nelson came in for the Colts. They got
Yep.
good right away.
Yep.
So this could be the Falcons' Quentin Nelson, and now they're talking about kicking him out the left tackle. And
Yep.
so get in there a couple years. Jake get a little older. Maybe if Jake could play the 20 years like his dad, then you just switch him to right tackle.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah.
let him
Yep.
go
Swing him
out
to the other. Swing him to the other side.
side and keep it rolling that way. Hey, the guys I talked to say the kid's legit. He's only 20, so I definitely don't want a 20-year-old tackle outside.
No, I've seen him play. He's legit. Now, my other option at 4. What? And let me get your thoughts on this, because it wouldn't cost much. Maybe go from 3 to 2.
If I'm gonna do that, and this would be a straight business move, and you probably cost the team some future. Go get Trevor Lawrence and fill the stadium up. You get the kid from Cartersville, but Jacksonville, if he
Well, I
ain't
was
gonna
thinking 3. I was thinking from 3. I meant from 4
score,
to 2 for Fields to
get
ensure that San Fran, because we, even though everybody's saying Mac Jones, we really don't know until draft night. So to
right.
go from 4 to 2, maybe give up a third round
Mhm.
pick this year, maybe a second next year, because you're not moving up that far. So it's not necessarily a desperation, because if not, you can stand pat. But it was just an idea. I thought maybe trading from four to 2.
Yeah, maybe if the Jets are happy with Darnold, which they think they can get Zach Wilson at 4, then maybe you can do that. Get in front of Shanahan to get your guy. That's certainly something that they need to look at, because the word around league is that Shanahan didn't trade up to 3 to get no developmental quarterback.
Correct.
So you admit they let one of my guys say, hey, they didn't trade up to 3 to get no trade Lance. Because he
No.
not ready to play. And they didn't trade up there to get Mac Jones. He can't throw the ball down the field. That's why Shanny don't like Garoppolo, missing Sanders in the Super Bowl.
Right.
So he traded up to 3 to get Justin Fields, and I don't care what nobody else say.
I
That's what they
believe the I believe the exact same thing, because but he's more, because I think he's looking at what he had with RG3, but of course RG3 wasn't an accurate thrower, but he knows Fields is accurate, Fields can run, and what, so that's why I'm thinking trade from 4 to 2, you know.
need
And
to.
if the Jets, if the Jet, or you could do this, something that, remember, what was it when Eli came? Have a
Mhm,
conversation. I'm talking about still giving the same compensation,
mhm.
but have the Jets pick your guy,
Right.
and you pick the
You pick Zach Wilson.
and well, hold up. Well, you couldn't say Zach Wilson, because I don't think, like you said, I don't think, if San Fran moved up to take Fields and you don't take,
Get him. You might take Zach Wilson.
yeah,
Yeah. I got
so they would take Zach Wilson. So you would have to, or work something out, take Fields, and I can still draft a quarterback, but you may have to come up with a little bit more, compensation, because
you.
I think you and I both know when a new coach comes, he normally wants his guy at the
Right.
quarterback. And this quarterback class, at far as where, especially where Atlanta is picking, I think your first draft pick has to be a quarterback.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I understand that reasoning. I think it has to be one or two quarterbacks. I don't
Okay,
rate the other ones as high. And I studied the draft, for years, and
sure.
we can go back to Donovan McNabb and Cade McNown, and they were supposed to be the '77 draft with O'Brien and Elway,
Right.
and in '17, how does Trubisky gets picked over Deshaun and Mahomes? So you got to be right in the draft. And so as far as I'm concerned, it ain't but two quarterbacks. So if you ain't give me Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields, then I just might as well take the tackle or the guard, the
I
tight end.
agree. I agree, and that's why I said I would get Fields because with Matt there and with Matt contract, you don't have to play Fields for at least 2 years until
Right.
the cap hit is low. So then when he comes in, he is he knows the offense because you would have the preseason games, and if you get blowouts, where he could get in, get his feet wet. So I agree with you, but you did give me something to think about, the fans to think about, that I didn't think about, which is take the tackle, then take Sewell, because you can get some. There are some still other great tight ends, good tight ends in this draft that you could get later.
Yeah, and another thing, Otis, you could play Justin. You could play him just like the Saints are playing Tyson Hill. Get him inside the 30, run some zone read, or get inside the 40, throw a bomb. I'm not gonna just let him sit over there and study in class, but when he's
Yeah,
ready to go, you got to play him just like Kansas City did with Patrick Mahomes.
you're correct about that. What are your thoughts on a lot of fans ain't gonna like this, Orlando, but what are your thoughts maybe in this draft, right? Trading Julio.
Well, no, I'm not. Yeah, I don't. I'm from the school that you keep the guys that can play football. If he can't play, then don't keep him. But if you can play and he's healthy, I'm not trading Julio.
Only reason, and just to give you my mindset with that is because he's still a great player, future Hall of Famer, taking nothing away from Julio, but getting long in the tooth. Once again, you have a new regime. You still have Riley, right? You still have Riley, and you still can pick up. This draft is also deep in receivers, and you could trade Julio and still pick up another draft pick, or what we were talking about, moving from 4 to 3 with Julio and free up cap space at the same time.
Yeah,
That was my only thinking with trading Julio.
yeah, that's a good thought because they still are real tight on the cap. They need about 12.9 million for the rookies, so they still got to clear some money some way. The only thing left I think they could do is restructure or extend Grady Jarrett. Yeah, trading Julio would solve some issues there.
Yeah, that I just wanted to get your thoughts on it. Just not because he can't play anymore, or anything like that. It's just because it's a new regime. So in this draft, I'm thinking for Atlanta, and not in any order, but just let me know your thoughts on it. I'm thinking quarterback, defensive end, cornerback, tight end, safety.
Yeah, that pretty much covered it because you're straight at linebacker because you brought in Mingo and Copeland,
I did
and you
have
got
D tackle as well. If I didn't say it.
yeah, D tackle. Yeah, they just brought in Bullard. Uh, yeah, but you definitely got to try to get a pass rusher in here, whether even if he's not, elite. But you definitely got to go running back, and quarterback might be, you know, you only want to take the right one. You don't want to take the
Correct.
Trubisky quarterback. Yeah,
No.
you don't want but it's some guys, Kellen Mond from Texas A&M. You got to get a backup in here. Kyle Trash from Florida. You're not drafting him that high. So get somebody in here that your quarterback coach can mold and play. Maybe the Jamie Newman kid late from Georgia, Wake Forest.
I'm still mad at Jamie Newell.
Played. He overplayed his card. I hate it when the kids listen to the agents and the agents are steering them wrong. But if he didn't have real legitimate COVID concerns, he should have went out there and won the job and played. Uh, did last year. So he was. That was my problem with that. Somebody said he was opting out to protect his draft status. I'm like, your draft status is real low right now.
You quarterback at Wake Forest. You are not. All you can do is go up. You can.
Right, he can't go down. So he gonna have a long draft weekend here on the 29th through the 1st.
What about your thoughts now? When I mentioned D tackle, I tell you who I had in mind, which was the kid from LSU, Shelvin.
Mhm. Yes, that's a good candidate for him. Certainly, get up the field and finds a football. I was listening, talking to Big Chuck on the phone, and
Hmm.
he's been working with a lot of these linemen. He keeps saying the Barrymore kid from Alabama is going to
Yeah,
be a
yeah.
good fit for the Falcons. Later on in the draft. So,
I tell you a
Big
guy that they could steal that a lot of people don't talk about, but I saw what he was doing in college. Not this year, well, because COVID just kind of upset a lot of players' playing potential. But the year before, the kid Mustafa Johnson out of Colorado. Um, Coming into last year's season, his what was it? His 2019 season,
uh-huh.
he had like he was like in the top 5, top 10 in tackles for loss at the D tackle spot. So I was kind of looking for someone to pair with Grady, whether either he's a guy, a penetrator or a space eater. That's why I said the kid from LSU, or he's a space eater.
Right.
So Grady doesn't have to worry about double teams.
Double teams, yeah. Yeah, I think that's Tyler Davidson does a good job of that. This Bullard kid is 296. You would want him to be a little bit bigger.
Right.
That's just that's just a sub for Grady. So yeah, that kid Mustafa, I'm gonna have to do some work on him. I haven't done as much on the
Yeah,
D.
check him out. Yeah, check him out. That kid, yeah, that kid. I think he had somewhere like 19 tackles for law. Matter of fact, the year before he played a great game against Texas,
Mhm.
and he was the reason. I think Colorado beat Texas that year, 2019. He had a showing. I thought he was going to come out last year, but he came back. What are your thoughts? And I'm coming back to Justin Fields again. And the reason I like Fields for Atlanta, not just his playing ability, but I think he would give what Atlanta wants, which is that star power. By me being a native of Georgia, and you've lived here for a very long time, and you know the pulse of the people, the fan base. That people don't realize that Atlanta is always waiting on to have a star that they could gravitate to.
Mhm. Yeah, no doubt about it. I was coming down here in the, guess that would have been the '80s, and just
Hmm.
coming to see Dominique.
Man,
Who else was on the team?
oh, that's
But
true.
there was some good dudes, Doc Rivers,
Yeah,
Hastings, some good, Spud, and but I think I saw them play Denver one time. I came down, so but the city was buzzing, and Nick, ruled the town, had them close in the playoffs. But wasn't nothing like the. I was driving down South Cobb when I heard about the trade to move up to number 1 to get
get
Michael
Michael
Vick.
Vick.
And
Woo.
it was messy at the beginning with Chris Chandler and the families fighting
Right.
in the stands.
I
But
remember that. I remember that because
yeah,
people was unfortunate. I don't know why I wouldn't hope that. You would just hope they put Vic in, but I wouldn't
right,
wish that
yeah,
Chris got hurt or nothing, you know.
He's a tough guy, and so but once Mike took over, man, Northside Drive was lit coming into the stadium on
Coming,
Sunday.
I listen. Leaving after the game, you would see
Yeah,
people at the tailgate. Most people, you think, all right, the game is over. They'll go. They were still partying like the game was about to begin.
right, yeah, they had at the beginning. I would go and you just see people. Atlanta didn't know how to tailgate, but by the middle of Michael Vick, this is the best. People had generators out there, Soul Train line. It was Club Gulch out there. Down
Correct.
man. It was people, and some of them people still go to the games and still try to get after. Last couple seasons been too cold though.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, but the Atlanta folks need to be a little warm for them to turn it
That's
up all the way. Yeah.
the only place I know. No matter what the weather is, they coming. You got to be at Athens. The
Yeah,
Bulldog fan. If you ain't a Bulldog fan, now they come out for. If they playing, they coming. That's
right,
I've
right.
I've never said. I tell people, if you don't know, go to Athens. Like, you just don't know. By 8 in the morning, they ready. They are
Oh yeah,
ready.
yeah, ready for it. Whoever it is, yeah, no doubt.
So what are your thoughts about the and I'll give some context why I'm asking this question. Your thoughts about the shorten of the preseason. I feel, and the reason I'm asking you this question is because I had a feeling that this past season teams, because they didn't have a preseason, didn't really have a training camp worth anything, but it seemed like certain teams cut the wrong guy and kept the wrong guy. And preseason, even though your starters don't play, but you find those hidden gems. You find who can play and who can't play, who you need to move on for and give this young guy a chance. And so when you're starting to shorten, the preseason game, now you're just trying to get your starters ready, and you don't really know what you have behind you.
Yeah, no question about it. But they got 90 guys. Got to cut down to 60. To
Hmm.
53. So
Hmm.
really, they got 70 guys. They got 20 guys out there just kind of helping out.
Right.
So but those are the decisions you got to make to get to that 53. The hope is they'll expand the rosters like they did last year.
Hmm.
So more jobs for the guys, and I asked Matt Ryan when this first came out, I was like, how long does it take you to get ready? He's like, man, a game and a half. So I was like, 18 games is okay. He's like, yeah, let's go. They're going to make more money. We're going to 18 games. So,
Yep.
just a stepping stone to that.
You're right.
And I got tired of those exhibition games. We're trying to come up with 5 things that happened, and you writing about the backup tackle running down on the kickoffs. So yeah, let's get to it. Lift some weights in the off season. Bump some heads in training camp. Let the blockers get physical and get ready to go. Don't run your people ragged and stuff that don't matter. And let's get to the games that count.
What you say? You were trying to find stuff to write about.
I remember I wrote about Bear Woods in one game. He was one of the guys that was trying to make it as a long shot. But people like the long shot story too. But
Right. What
the
you say?
Pro
I was just laughing because I can imagine you sitting there, especially that first preseason game when the starters only play one series and it's kind of sloppy, and you trying to figure out who you're looking for something. You just sitting
right.
there looking for something. So I can imagine that. So what do my final question for you is, what do you really feel like the Atlanta Falcons will do um, on draft day with that first pick?
Yeah, like right here today, I like to say, hey, they're gonna stand pat. They stand pat. They're gonna let the draft come to them at 4. They're gonna get the best position player in the draft and maybe the second best quarterback in the draft, or first, depending on how you
True.
rate Justin and Trevor. So I mean, I'm fine with him sitting there. If Shanny does him a solid and takes Mac Jones
Right.
Hey, you quarterback. I'm taking Justin, and
I'm
if I
taking
don't
Jeff.
take him, we're gonna have a riot in Atlanta if they
We
don't take him.
we need to have a riot if we.
But they gotta sell some tickets, so they need to take him. But the football move is I like to tackle, but
Right.
tight end is that ain't gonna help the line, and Ryan ain't gonna be able to get in the ball because they didn't gave up 40, 50 sacks. But Arthur Smith's a offensive lineman by trade, at
Right.
North Carolina, and this coach Bradford from Louisville is a pretty good teaching coach. So maybe they could fix the line. Maybe the line ain't as bad as it's been under the last two coaching staffs. But I'd rather have some talent up there than be trying to patchwork the line.
Well,
It's
yeah, I believe that. I believe like if they let's say like you said they stand pack and they're not looking to get a quote unquote franchise quarterback at 4, and they do what you said and get the tackle. I feel like if and I give you two other. I feel like you could go later in the draft, maybe get the kid from Georgia, the tight end Trey McKinney, because he used to run blocking. Plus, he can leak out far as a tight end. And then I'll give you if for that 3-4, I give you a rusher. I think he's a linebacker. He's a tweener, and that's the kid out of Oregon State.
okay. Yeah,
Um,
this day Thursday.
yeah, you know what I'm talking about. I think he finished with like 15, 16 sacks. So that's a guy that can get out the quarterback. So um and safety, I would if I was them is kind of three players I would look at the kid out of Auburn, uh
Mm-hmm.
Sherwin. I would look at the kid out of Syracuse. He's just a ball hawk. That
Okay.
kid, that kid just kid. And the kid I interviewed, Israel Makumu, who you can flip from corner to safety, 6'4", runs about a
Mm-hmm.
4.5 something, and you can't teach 6'4". So
Right.
so you could get those guys, like you said, that can you can plug and play, and they're just football players. They're just football players. So I appreciate you coming on the show, blessing me with your presence, man, talking a little bit about yourself and all things Atlanta Falcons. I love to have you back on the show after the draft, and talk about the picks. I'll probably give you some times after because you always in high demand uh, right after the draft. But we'll love to have you back on, man, and we appreciate you. And you are one of the best in the business.
Well, Otis, I certainly appreciate you having me on the show, and thank you for your kind words. I love talking football, and love the passion that you have for what you're doing with your project here, and we wish you the continued success in your future endeavors.
Thank you, sir. God
Well,
bless.
God bless you.